What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on FantasyPros with a 10-team full PPR mock where we'll be drafting second overall. Our roster, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it, so let's get right into it. And while we wait for it to load, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section, agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have. We'll do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get into it. The first pick has been made. It is Christian McCaffrey, and we're picking second overall, so now it is our turn. And I specifically wanted to make a mock where you're picking second overall because what happens here, we've done several mock drafts now, and whether it's now in May or it's later in July, August, September, I'd be willing to bet after Christian McCaffrey, there's going to be a wide receiver run. And maybe some of you were wondering how to navigate that situation. So for the sake of that exercise, I will simulate a situation like that. Personally, if this was me come draft day, I would seriously be considering Breece Hall or Bijan Robinson at the 102 or the 103. But again, I know a lot of you will also be on the opposite situation. You want to go pass catcher. So let's play that out. And here, you're looking at pass catcher. I think you're between CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill. You can have one ranked number one day, the other the next day. It's really close. It really is. So I have zero qualms with how you want to go about it. I think CeeDee Lamb might be a little bit more consistent. He's got the little bit more consistent quarterback, but it's not by much. It's splitting hairs. So I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb. And more, interestingly, I'd say what is going to happen in the second round now. Now, again, this is a 10-team mock, so we're going to benefit a little bit from better players dropping to us. But either way, you still you take what comes to you, and you don't apologize for it. So Tyreek Hill after our CeeDee Lamb pick, Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson. I like to see Garrett Wilson getting some love. Appreciate that. Even ahead of Justin Jefferson. Look, I love JJ, but no more Kirk Cousins, so I get it. Then Bijan, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Typically I'm used to seeing Breece Hall and Bijan right next to each other. Tremendous value for Breece Hall at the 109. If that happens in one of my drafts, I would be doing backflips. A.J. Brown afterwards, then Jonathan Taylor. Wow, I just noticed something crazy that happened, but I'll address that in a little bit. Brandon Ayuk drafted ahead of Puka Nacua, I think is pretty crazy. And, I get it. People really like Brandon Ayuk. They think Deebo Samuel is going to get traded. That might happen. True, but again, I'd prefer Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs, Marvin Harrison, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman. The thing I said a while about is Saquon Barkley dropping to the 208. Let me tell you right now, folks, this Tyreek Hill and Saquon Barkley combo to start off the first 2 rounds is going to be the absolute best 1-2 draft pick that you see probably in any mock draft that we do. It's not going to happen often, but it is tremendous, and I want to point it out and give credit for it. The easy selection, Saquon Barkley could have been selected immediately after Breece Hall at the end of the first round. So, I did want to point that out. But now it's our selection, and I'm looking at the names here. We got our difference maker at wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb. I do like some other names here, Chris Olave, Drake London, but I do think we need to get a running back. And I'm looking at the running backs, Travis Etienne, Kyron Williams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one running back first, and then whatever happens with the next 2 picks, we'll decide whether we go another running back or a wide receiver. So I'm going to go with Etienne here. I want to address the running back position. And, Kyron Williams goes immediately afterwards. Okay. Which means Rachaad White is the next best available running back per these rankings, even though I probably have Josh Jacobs ahead of him. And now, though, we get a very interesting situation. We could have gone 3 wide receivers to start out this draft, but I've said it before, I'll say it again. The wide receiver position is deep. So I did want to add a running back, and the wide receiver position will be even deeper here in a 10-team league. I'm really high on Drake London this year. I think Drake London with Kirk Cousins is going to be a really, really good combination. So I'm going to, yeah, I'm gonna commit to that. I'm gonna commit to Drake London, and then let's see what's available to us in the what would be fourth round of this draft. And just as a reminder, I have already Travis Etienne, CeeDee Lamb was our first pick. Then we got Drake London. Looking at the draft board, after we went Drake London, Mike Evans, Laporta, Kelsey, 1-2. Typically, I see Kelsey a little bit later. A-Chain, Debo, Chris Olave. I'd have Debo much lower personally. Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara. Great value on Josh Jacobs. Really like that. Then Jalen Hurts, second quarterback. Again, I think it pays. Said it last year. I'll say it again. Just wait on the quarterbacks. If you want to get one of the elite guys, just don't be the first guy to draft a quarterback. DJ Moore, Derrick Henry, Nico Collins, Pacheco, Anthony Richardson, Rashad White, Lamar Jackson. So now we could go running back. We definitely could. James Cook, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker, all for consideration. But I'm looking at some of these other names, and I'm really tempted by either Stephon Diggs or Cooper Kupp. And I'm going to give the edge to Cooper Kupp. I think that, last year he was banged up, and I think that he is still going to be a very big part of that offense. I don't think the wheels have completely fallen off. And even if you want to make the case, okay, he's a wide receiver too, you can make the exact same case with Stephon Diggs. He's also got the age factor in Houston. And then same situation with Jalen Waddle, number 2 opposite Tyreek Hill. So I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp here. And then our wide receivers, I think, are really, really good. But, because I'm looking at these running backs, and I don't want to be in a situation where, we miss out on both Kenneth Walker and Aaron Jones. But again, it's not going to be back-to-back running backs here. I'm confident in that. So let's just go Cooper Kupp. Let's add our last starting wide receiver. And again, there's going to be really good value at that position later on. But Cooper Kupp's my guilty pleasure. What do you want me to say? I believe in him. So yeah, Aaron Jones here in Minnesota, the primary guy now. The Alexander Madison experiment kind of failed. Kenneth Walker, not as great of a pass-catching running back as Aaron Jones. So I'm going to go with Jones. I think it's going to be a one-year deal type of situation. And, him as my running back too, I think we could do a lot worse. So let's add Aaron Jones. And now is, I think, where it gets interesting, where we're going to see how the remainder of this roster really looks, and if we can make a contender out of it. Because again, these first couple of picks, I'd say, are pretty easy. Value dropping, top heavy teams. But looking at the selections afterwards, James Cook, Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker. So yeah, basically the next group of running backs. Great value in Waddle, Malik Neighbors. Then second rookie wide receiver. Shouldn't be shocked there. I prefer his value over Marvin's at this point in time. Trey McBride, Mahomes, Amari Cooper, Zay Flowers, Zamir White. Whoa, or kind of really on Zamir White, I would say. I think DeAndre Swift could be ranked ahead of him. CJ Stroud, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, Nick Chubb. Again, I want to wait and see what happens with the injury. If Chubb is full go week 1, okay, well, he's going to skyrocket up rankings. Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf. So now I'm not looking at wide receivers, even though there's very good value. I think Ramondre Stevenson here, and then maybe we can land like DeAndre Swift afterwards. I'd be pretty happy about that. So let's go that route. I think you can never have enough running backs. Antonio Gibson in New England doesn't scare me too much. I think this offense is going to be better. So I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson first. If DeAndre Swift gets drafted, I'm not really sweating it. David Montgomery is also available. And, this is one of those situations where how worried are you about Jahmyr Gibbs? I think it's a situation where David Montgomery was obviously a focal point of that offense last year as well. So he's not going to go away, but I do think Jahmyr Gibbs could be involved a little bit more. So I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift. I do think Swift is more so the starter. So he's going to get more opportunities, and I like that Chicago offense. So I'm loading up on running back depth, basically, is what I'm doing here, and now feel pretty good about it. And then I'm kind of hoping just a decent tight end falls to me. And if that's the case, then I'd feel even better about this squad. Looking at the draft board, what happened after our selection: Godwin, Jalen Warren, T. Higgins, Kyler Murray, Montgomery, good value, James Conner, Christian Kirk, Terry McLaurin. We'll see what happens in the Arizona backfield. You've got competition there, right? Pretty high draft capital on the rookie. Spears, great value on George Pickens, Raheem Mostert, Odunze, Najee Harris, Zach Moss, Joe Burrow, Tony Pollard. Now, I'm seeing Dak Prescott. And the reason I mentioned Dak Prescott, not that he's like a world beater at quarterback, but we get the Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb stack. And I do like those stacks, the quarterback, wide receiver, quarterback, running back. So I'm pretty tempted to go Dak Prescott here. And then we can go ahead and grab our tight end at this point in time as well. So let's go Dak Prescott. We got a nice little stack. And now tight end here. Do we go Kittle? Do we go Pitts and Njoku? I'm going to go with Pitts. I know I've already got Drake London, but I think Pitts will also be heavily involved. George Kittle, I think he's very talented, but a lot of mouths to feed. There's some games where he will blow up, but there's also some games where, he's going to be used as a blocker. And Njoku, he's got a lot of people to contend with. So I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts. I think he's arguably number 2 on that pecking order in Atlanta. So we got our tight end taken care of. And now we have got 3 more picks to make. I think here we can go with another tight end, honestly, either Dallas Goedert or TJ Hawkinson. But let's wait on that. I mentioned that in case, God forbid, Kyle Pitts disappoints again, right? Other names, I really, really like Deontay Johnson at wide receiver. I really like him above, Reed, Hopkins, Hollywood Brown is probably pretty close to Deontay Johnson. I just think there's more people in Kansas City. I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson. I think he's going to be Bryce Young's best friend. So let's go with Deontay here. Where are you, Deontay? I have to add him manually. Let's do that right here. And then we'll wait a little bit longer to make another selection, but not too long, right? So here we can go with another wide receiver in Hollywood Brown that I referenced. Or we can go with a backup tight end, but I don't think a backup tight end is all that pressing. So let's continue to just load up on wide receivers that I like. And we'll get our backup tight end or a backup quarterback in the last round. So I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown here. There's some Blake Corums there, but I feel good about my running backs: Etienne, Aaron Jones, Ramondre, DeAndre Swift. So that's the nice thing about these 10-team leagues. You get pretty good high-end depth if you address it at the right point in time. So here we're going to go with Hollywood Brown, and then we're going to make one final selection. Let's see if it'll be quarterback. Maybe it'll be tight end. Won't be tight end because the top tight ends, I should say the top remaining tight ends were all drafted. So, here I'm going to go a guy that I kind of highlight every single draft, Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to come back, and he's going to be a stud. Back up to Dak Prescott. I wouldn't be shocked if Aaron Rodgers has a better season than Dak Prescott. So let's conclude this and then see the grade that we got. I'm pretty curious, but it's tough to get a bad grade in a 10-team league. And this kind of shows it, B-. I'm kind of in agreement. I wish we got a little bit more depth at tight end, potentially, but Kyle Pitts, I think, is like, if it doesn't happen this year, it's never going to happen, right? But Kirk Cousins is going to do wonders for that offense. I like our running back depth. I like our wide receivers: CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, Cooper Kupp, Deontay, Hollywood Brown. Really good situation. So I like the squad. I think it's very balanced. I think it's got some home run hitters. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you agree, disagree, if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.